next topic. Kahapon, na-discuss ni Ma'am Rima yung mga taxation and everything. So, magaganda yung mga discussion. But, bigyan na natin siya ng medyo konting sauce sa discussion, di ba? Usually, the government assessment principles and then the taxation. So, in the government assessment and taxations, the appraiser's role is not to predict the selling price. Hindi nyo pinipredict yung mga selling price na yan. But, ang ginagawa niya o ginagawa natin bilang mga appraiser is to determine the fair market value of a real property for the purpose of taxation. Ano ba yung purpose nun ng fair market value? For the purpose of taxation. Diba? Ibenta mo man yan, sell mo yan with the selling price, ang purpose pa rin niya is for the taxation. Diba? Under the Philippine law, appraisal and assessment for taxation are governed mainly by the LGU or the local government code. Ano yung local government code? The RA 7160. Nandyan nakapaloob din yung mga PD 464, the PD 1812, the MR PAAW, and dito na nga yung mga Philippine Valuation Standards. So, the guiding principles are fairness, uniformity, equity, and then the assessment based on the actual use and not on the ownership, the title, or the zoning alone. And these principles are to ensure the equitable distribution of the real property tax burden among the property owners. So here, why you must understand this kind of concept? Bakit kailangan nating matutunan ito? 'Di ba? As a future license real estate appraisers or this coming July 10, siguro may resulta na kayo. You as a license na, 'di ba? You are not just valuing the property because you are providing the basis for government taxation, then supporting the public revenue generation and ensuring that the equity and fairness in the tax burden. So the key reality of this concept is that the government assessment is valuation applied for taxation purposes. So kung mali yung valuation na ginagawa ninyo, taxes also will be wrong. Okay? Tandaan natin yan. Paano natin malalaman yung tamang valuation ng mga taxes? Aralin nyo yung nandoon sa 7160. Alamin nyo yung mga assessment level. Alamin nyo magkano yung, ano ba yung CMART, yung mga commercial, kapag ba sa building, kung mga sa land. Alamin ninyo yan. Kasi nga, doon magbavary. That's why I'm telling you this, that's the 3 point during the examination. 3 na yung point na yon. Alam nyo na kasi kasi given yung value the value is certain. May mga particular percentage, i-apply mo na lang. So kapag nagkamali ka pala dyan, so ikaw na yung may problema kasi hindi mo alam ilan yung tamang value, di ba? So dapat alamin natin yon. Okay? Here, ang ginawa ko kasi dito para mas maintindihan ng lahat at na-discuss rin namin to sa mga OREP reviewees about this, yung pagkakaroon ng tamang process or this is what we call the flowchart. Yung flowchart na yan, siguro hindi masyadong binibigay sa iba, but ito yung pinakang format na ginawa ng OREP. So the flowchart of the government assessment principles is the essential in real estate appraisal because it translates the legal provisions into a logical step-by-step process that ensures uniformity, fairness, legality, and accuracy in the property valuation for taxation purposes. So this is the flowchart here, as you can see in the screen. The flowchart of the government assessment principle is highly important because it transforms the legal provisions into a systematic and standardized process that ensure uniformity, fairness, legality, accuracy in a property valuation for taxation. By following this structure, the framework na ginawa natin. So, appraisers are able to produce defensible and equitable assessment, avoid errors, and ensure that tax obligations are based on the correct property values. So, this is the exact process na mas maiintindihan natin kung paano ginagawa yung government assessment. Kasi, di ba, binigay na nga namin sa inyo eh. So in a simple terms, it guides the assessor or the appraisers from the data collection to the final assessment without error, bias, or the omission. look at what we have done in this kind of flowchart. Ang ganda, di ba? Parang, oh wow, it will start from the legal foundation. So ano nga ba yung mga legal foundation na yan, di ba? Like here, let's now take a look for this one. Yung legality, the uniform, accurate, systematic, transparent, and defensible, nandiyan na lahat sa flowchart na pinakita namin sa inyo. And here, in the PD 464, the Real Property Tax Code of the Philippines, it is highly relevant to a real estate appraisers because it provides the legal foundation of the appraisal, the assessment, and then the valuation for taxation purposes. And the PD 464 is irrelevant to appraisers because it establishes the fundamental principles and procedures for the property valuations, assessment, and real property taxation, making all the appraisal the basis for determining the fair market value. Diba? Yan yung kasi yung ginagamit for taxation. So here, the PD 464 provides the legal framework for real property appraisal taxation. Like yung nilagay namin dito, section by section, so hindi na kayo mahihirapan kasi nga particularly on the section 2, 519, and then the 20. So the basis of the government appraisal define the appraise, assess, and the tax. So meaning the real estate appraisal is your valuation becomes the basis of the taxation. In the section 2, siguro alam nyo na yan, FMB, uniformity, actual use. So, nabasa nyo naman na yan, I believe so. Then like here, so, di ba may PD 464, meron naman tayo tinatawag na PD 1812. Yung time namin, binaliktad to 2181, 1218, so parang ganyan nangyari. Tapos may isa pa doon sa part 2, may PD 1812 din. Yung PD 1812 kasi, inamendahan lang naman niya yung PD 464, granting the President the authority to adjust the classification, the assessment level, tax rate, and revision. So parang nagtataka sila. So ibig sabihin, ni-revise nila yung, inamend nila yung PD 464, tapos binigyan na ng yung Presidente ng Pilipinas to grant the authority to adjust. So pwede ba silang mag-assess or mag-appraise or maging assessor? No. The core purpose of the 1812 is, the purpose is thus to introduce the flexibility in real taxation. It allows the government to respond to the inflation, deflation, economic changes or development needs. So the keywords that you have to remember for this law is the PD 1812 does not replace the PD 464. Hindi siya pinalitan, kundi minodify lang by giving the President the special power that this is the only provisions na kailangan gawin ng Presidente. So, the President of the Philippines can adjust the property classification, frequency of general revision, the tax rate, and then the exemption. So, sabi niya, yung Presidente pala pwede na mag-assess. No, that's not. Kasi, under the PD 1812, the President does not directly perform the appraisal or assessment. Instead, the President acts through the executive authority upon recommendation for a proper agency. So ano yung mga proper agency? Yung mga Department of Finance, the Department of Budget and Management, we have what we call the LGU, and then the assessment authorities who are the assessors, di ba? Yung mga government, mga LGU. So, issuing the presidential decrees or the executive order or the instructions, as stated, these all will materialize because of the authorizing power to the government. Hindi siya mag-a-assess, hindi siya appraiser. So, through the mga executive authority, yung mga upon recommendation lang. So, paano siya gagawin? Di ba? Naguguluhan kayo, paano nga ba? So, it happens during if there is an economic or policy issue arises, doon lang siya pwedeng mangyari. So like for example, yung urbanization on land conversion, doon lang pwede, it happens during this policy issue arises. And also it happens kapag there is a technical agency study impact, or there is also a recommendation submitted to the President na kailangan ma-amend na ito, kailangan gawin. So, the LGU and the assessors implement the updated classification rules. So, the core idea in this concept in the PD 1812 is that the President does not classify individual properties. He just only modify the rules or the framework of classification through mga agency na sinasabi namin sa inyo. Okay? So the tax rates and exemptions, paano gagawin? The fiscal needs arises, the budget deficit, National Economic Authority. So yan yung mga kailangan gawin kapag nagkaroon ng ganitong klaseng in-authorize natin yung Pangulo ng Pilipinas. So hopefully it will, no? So here, as you can see, under the PD 1812 adjustment in the property, like yung economic change, yung nabanggit ko kanina, technical studies, so lahat yan yung adjustment. So under the PD 12, the adjustment in the property classification, general revision frequency assessment level. So dan lang siya. Okay? Huwag niyo isipin na ginrant yung kanyang walang gano, yung power lang niya is because through the government, mga branches. Okay? It's a very wrong na isipin natin. It's a very, maling isipin natin that the president directly assess the property. No, that's an insult sa ating mga licensed appraisers, di ba? So, yan lang yon. Instead, the president adjusts the legal framework while the local government units assessors perform the actual valuation and then the taxation. So, for you to remember what it's all about, the 464 established the rule of real property taxation, which includes yung valuation, assessment, classification. Kapag naman PD 1812 provides the flexibility to adjust those rules based on what? Based on economic conditions. Hindi pwedeng gawin kung sinabi lang niya na ganito. No, kailangan may basis tayo. Meron tayong dapat na mga importante na dapat gawin kung bakit kakaroon ng adjustment because of the economic conditions. That's it. Nothing else. The PD 464 is the fixed rules. Fixed na siya. While the PD 1812, it follows the adjustment of the assessment level and then the revision of the frequency changes. So they need to update all the standard valuation. Like for example, ano ba yung mga economics? Yung inflation arises, so the assessment level may be adjusted, di ba? Kasi nga, yung may inflation. So dun papasok. So since nalaman nyo naman na yung RA 7160 and also the PD 464 including the PD 1812, how about this one? Do you still remember the Batas Pambansa 135? This is the amendment of the National Internal Revenue Code or the NIRC by revising the income tax rate exemptions and the taxation rules. So I still remember itong BP 135 in the case nung lang, share ko lang sa inyo, no? Kasi sabi niya kasi baka may ganitong scenario kasi most ng mga exam, di ba, para mga law, is law ang type na mga exam para mga law, di ba? Ang mga cases. So in the case ni nung isa sa mga na-study namin, kasi nagreklamo siya bakit daw medyo hindi daw equal treatment, walang mga due process ganyan. In the case ni Season versus Ancheta, so yun yung parang si Season yata, bakit daw iba daw yung taxes for the professional and business compared doon sa mga minimum earners na sumisweldo. So syempre 'di ba, there is a classification. So the BP 135, napapansin niyo naman 'di ba, yung threshold na kapag ikaw ay over 2,500 but not over 5,000, there is a 1%, 'di ba? So i-compare naman natin tayo mga professionals. I-compare mo nga yung sumisweldo ng minimum earners compare dun sa mga tayong mga mas malalaki yung sweldo or kayo na mas malalaki ang sweldo kasi 'di ba? Iba. So parang equal naman talaga siya. So parang ang sinasabi kasi ng batas ng BP 135, walang sinasabi doon na hindi nagkaroon ng mga due process or ek na ganyan. Kasi nga, as per the BP 135, it's a valid na batas, di ba? Because the tax classification based on the income type and the compensation versus the business or the professional are reasonable and constitutional. Ibig sabihin, itong batas na ito, ipinatutupad sa mga income earners na depende kung magkano yung kinikita. Even also, kung siya ay provincial rate or city sa Manila or Metro Manila rate. So, equal naman siya. Kaya lang nga, ito kasing si Season, masyadong alam mo na yun, parang inile-level niya yung sarili niya doon sa mga minimum earners, mga minimum wager. So, ang nangyari kasi is that parang wala daw due process. So ngayon, ang due process, there is no, na-violate daw yung mga equal protection, due process, there is no uniformity in taxation. Actually, there is a uniformity of taxation. It so happen, nile-level lang natin talaga yung mga minimum earner. So, yan yung fact na kung bakit ko sinama itong um, sweldo-sweldo na yan under the PP 135. And hopefully naintindihan natin, diba? Especially when you read the doctrine of the BP 135, the rule of taxation shall be uniform and equitable. So the power to tax by the state is an inherent prerogative and it has to be availed of the assured to the performance of the vital state functions. So equally distributed naman yan. Kaya wag naman tayong maging mapangahas sa gobyerno, 'di ba? Ikumpara natin yung mga ano pa 'to? Yung mga construction worker, tapos yung mga business, tapos yung mga profession, ikukumpara mo yung sweldo, 'di ba? There is a threshold. There is a particular law na ipinatutupad to have a equal protection. So, hindi na ma-violate yung ating karapatan. So, yun lang isipin natin. So, paki-thumbs up po kung medyo naintindihan or mabilis ba ang aking discussion. Guys, ano po, okay lang ba kayo? Okay, so andyan na. Okay po, no? So let's now proceed kung naintindihan. Kasi kung di naintindihan, stop na ako mag-discuss. Or baka naman yung iba is nakikinig sa kabila. Okay, so yan lang nga tandaan natin, no? Let's now go back to our previous discussion. Bakit nga ba itong tinatawag natin flow chart na napakadaling tandaan pag nag-aaral tayo ng real estate appraisal, no? Pag ano tayo, pag nag-review. Kasi ginawa namin ito para mas maintindihan yung pinakang sistema. Like for example, the legal foundation. Ano ba ang legal foundation? In the Philippine Constitution, Article 10 of Section 5 of the local government, the LGU have the power to levy taxes. So yun lang yun. Inherent power of the state. Kaya, yung mga LGU na sinasabi dun sa Republic Act 7160, provinces, city, municipality, and barangay, kailangan ninyong alamin kung ilang percentage yan. 70%, 30%, 40, 35. I-perfect nyo guys to. I am telling you. Kasi talagang lalabas siya. This is because these are the constitutionally authorized and not merely the statutory lang or it is directly granted by the Constitution. Kaya dapat niyong malaman. And it follows the uniformity, the equity, and then the public purpose. So the provision of this legal framework or legal foundation is for the local government unit shall have the power to create its own sources of revenue and to levy the taxes, fee, and charges subject to such guidelines and limitations. Di ba? Yung LGU are not fully dependent on the national government. They can generate their own, like for example, yung mga RPT or the real property tax. We have also the business tax. We have also the fees and charges. So how about the local government na na-create? Di ba sabi ng Constitution, mag-create ka ng isang mandato. So ano yung kinreate na yun? And that's what we call the local government code, which is the RA 7160. Doon nagmula ang 7160 from the Constitution, iniutos mismo ng batas ng Constitution na gumawa ng isang mandato. And that's what we call the primary law. Ito yung primary law, which is the 7160, that provides the authority to tax the real property and procedures for assessment and the classifications and valuation rules. So under the Republic Act 7160, particularly on the Section 129 or Section 29, up to the 151, the LGU are granted the power to levy taxes, fee, and charges guided by the fundamental principles and subject to the statutory limitations with specific taxing powers allocated among the provinces, municipalities, city, and barangay. Guys, inuulit ko ulit. Provinces, municipalities, cities, and barangay. pumunta kayo sa section 129 to 151. Basahin nyo siya, i-memorize nyo yan. Okay? At siguradong lalabas. And aside from the Constitution as the legal framework and then yung primary law na 7160, ito na yung totoong batas. And that's what we called the RP Bara or the 12001. Ito na talaga yung nagmamandato sa mga appraisers na or valuation na yan. It is a modern reform law. Kung may primary law, which is the 7160, we have what we call the modern reform law. And that modern reform law is standardized the valuation using the schedule of market values or the SMV na inadapt based on the market-based valuation and then the Philippine Valuation Standards or the PBS. And this law elevates the appraisal practice into a professional, uniform, and data-driven system. Meron na tayong sistemang sinusunod. And it's supported. The supporting issuance, sino ba ang nagsusupporting issuance dito? Ng the local government, the Department of Finance, the BLGF manuals, the Philippine Valuation Standards. We have the LGU ordinances. These are the supporting issuances. Okay? We have the foundation, which is the Constitution. We have the primary law, the RA 72160. We have the modern law that has been implemented to standardize the valuation. And you need to follow those things, di ba? The nature of the real property taxation, yun yung importante. The ad valorem tax, based on the value, the local tax imposed by the LGU, direct tax, it cannot be shifted. It covers only the land, building, machinery, and the improvement. So the main purpose of this, alam nyo naman, for the general welfare, di ba? Infrastructure, public services. Kaya nga sabi ko, aralin ninyo lahat ng project ng mga gobyerno. I-include nyo na yung mga flood control project. Okay? Kasi kasama yan. Malay nyo, isama dahil very timely and relevant and the current issue itong flood control project, how the real estate appraisers connect doon sa mga flood control project na yan. So kailangan alamin ninyo, di ba? Are they being taxed? Are they being collected? Are they being... So alamin ninyo what is the participation of the real estate appraisers or the assessor on that flood control project. So yun yung pinakang current event na pwede kong ma-share sa inyo. Aside from the economic trends na nangyayari ngayon, di ba? So kaya siya relevant kasi last year, di ba, medyo boom. So baka medyo lang maisama how this how they created this kind of questionnaires, the appraisers or assessors related to the flood control project. So alamin nyo lang yan, magkaroon kayo ng analysis or mga searches, mag-search kayo kung ano yan. Okay? So here, the fundamental tax principles or the tax, because usually it is a board exam favorite, di ba? Usually, pagdating sa uniformity, equity, and public purpose, this principle limit the power of taxation. Uniformity, kailangan all properties the same class must be taxed equally. Ano ba yung mga the same class? Di ba may mga classification, residential, commercial, industrial, yan. So, alamin nyo yung mga classifications. Yung pag tinatawag naman natin ng mga equity, so fair based on the ability, non-oppressiveness, so tax must be not excessive or confiscatory. Kailangan in accordance to the level or kung ilang percentage yung hinihingi. So kailangan hindi siya masyadong excessive, hindi siya masyadong abuse of power by the government. So medyo no-no yung ganyan. So if that happen, 'di ba? Para may pagka-police power na yung ginagawa nila. So it's not acceptable. Pwede kayo mag-file ng mga cases against them. So taxation must be fair, equal, uniformity within the class for public purpose, not abusive, based on the capacity of progressive. Okay, doon lang yung tatandaan natin lagi. Pagdating naman sa real property identification, okay, so alam nyo na yan. Kailangan ginagawa natin kung paano natin ma-identify yung mga property classifications. Uulitin pa ba natin yung mga ganito? Residential, industrial, special, so mga assessment level, yung mga tax burden. Kailangan hindi halimbawa, ang nabasa nyo sa exam is ang level ng residential is 20%, tapos nabasa nyo 25 yung ginamit. So may pagka red flag yung ganong klase, no? So, yung mga special classification, yung mga schools, hospital, religious schools. So usually hindi siya mga tax act, guys. Ito yan, natutunan namin sa Constitution. Hindi tinatax talaga yung mga yan. Pero pagdating doon sa mga, hindi tinatax yung pero yung mga ibang, may hinahanap sila na mga pinakang taxable doon. Like yung mga, yung institution. Pero akala nyo lang, hindi tinatax, may tinatax pa rin sa kanila. Di ba? So, yun yung hahanapin ninyo. Example, yung mga religious establishment, si father nakatanggap ng gift worth like 1 million, ang sabi niya. So ngayon, since na siya ay religious or nasa church, hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na hindi pwedeng i-tax yung gift or i-tax yung kasi hindi naman siya particular dun sa infrastructure or dun sa religious infrastructure na yun eh. So iba yung tax. Baka lang, binibigyan ko lang kayo example. Yung gift na yun, pwedeng siyang i-tax. So hindi siya kasama doon sa infrastructure. So yun yung parang ibig kong sabihin. So alamin niyo ninyo, ano yung mga taxable pagdating sa mga special properties. Hindi porke sabihin na, ay, ano naman to, church naman to, hindi to pa pwedeng i-tax. Kasi nga, di ba, church, parang religious siya. So ngayon, naka-receive si father ng 1 million donation, di ba? Paldo si father. So, isipin ninyo, taxable ba yung na-receive niya or donation? So, isipin niyo yung ganung bagay. So now let's proceed to the assessment level. Principle, so alam niyo na yung property classification. So, masyado na kayong nabuburyong na sa pagbibigay ko ng mga information about this. Pero kailangan kasi pag nare-recall, mas lalo nating, sabi ko nga, we need to strengthen kung ano natutunan ninyo. Di ba? So, yun yung ginagawa ko sa inyo. We need to give you a high yield of information, detailed information, hindi yung nabasa mo lang. Mahirap kasi yung nabasa mo lang, pero no one will guide you, no one will give you an overview on what's all about sa mga nabasa mo. Mas maganda yung katulad ng ganito na may nagbibigay na information. Okay? So, paki-thumbs up kung agree. Ayan, nag-agree sila. Kaso ang konti, hindi nag-agree yung iba. No? Ayan, dumadami na sila. Okay, very good. Kung naintindihan nyo ano yung mga dapat yung alamin sa mga special properties, ano yung tinatax doon at saka yung hindi. Baka mamaya, di ba, naka-receive nga si father, no? Ang daming na-receive, 1 million donation. Hindi dineclare. Akala niya, hindi pwede kasi religious to. Oh, excuse me, infrastructure lang yung Pero yung mga donation, hindi siya exempted. Ganon. Ganon kayo dapat mag-isip. Kasi ganon kami mag-isip kung paano, hindi sinabi na school, hindi na siya kasama sa tax. Isipin nyo, ano ba ang tinatax sa special properties at ano ba yung hindi? Di ba? Parang, ting, yung ganon. Yung mga tipong nagkaroon kayo ng analytical thinking. Okay? So, the FMB is the gross value, assessed value is taxable value, meaning kapag sinabi natin na FMB, so FMB equals total value of the property before tax, and then the assessed value is equals to the value subject to tax. So again, ano yung sinabi ko? The FMB equals total value of the property before tax, then the assessed value equals value subject to tax. So think of it of the FMB as your total income before you are taxed only on the taxable income. Okay? For the general, ito yung mga assessment level, so alam nyo na yan, no? For the general provision is necessary. Bakit? Kasi in the general provisions, in the general division principle, through the mass appraisal, it is the periodic updating of the property value. So ilang taon nga, paki-chat nga sa chat box, ilang taon yung periodic updating ng periodic property values? Ilan? So yun, makasagot agad, top 1 siya. Okay, Dennis, tama. J-Lord, that's correct. 3 years. Okay? Nahuli lang si kasi nilagyan niya ng word na years. Pero si J-Lord 3. O, diba? Or at least, tama yun. Okay, very good. Alam mo, ang gagaling ng batch na ito, no? We are so happy, even sina Ma'am Rima, na gaglad sa inyo. Para after na discussion, nag-uusap-usap kami para alam na namin yung mga magta-top notcher sa board exam. Kasi ano eh, ang gagaling, no? Kasi nakikinig, nakafocus, no? Next, ito naman sinasabi natin. Discuss ko ba ito sa mga mabilisan lang siguro. Alam niyo na ba yung ano, PME? Iba alam na eh. Sino pang, discuss pa ba natin to? Paki-thumbs up. Baka may alam na kayo. Machine and equipment. Discuss pa daw. Sino yung ay? Okay, after ng 30 minutes, si Engineer Benz na. So here, for the PME or the plant machinery and equipment. So usually, it is very important. No, I want you to listen carefully, not just to memorize, because the examiners will test your understanding, not the definition alone. Pag sinabi sa PME or the plant machine and equipment. So these are the tangible assets. These are the tangible property assets. But take note, they are different from land and building. Bakit? Kasi they can usually move or relocated. They depreciate faster, and their value changes depending on whether they are valued together with a business or as an individual asset for sale. So mabilis siya. But let me remind you guys, like here, is the value the same if the machine is in use or removed? Of course, the answer is no. Kasi nga, kapag in situ, in place, or if for removal, magkaiba siya. And you must understand why, because this is where the examiner tests your reasoning and not the memorization. Ano yung reasoning na dapat yung gawin pa sa pag-analyze ng PME? So why the value is not the same? Diba, the machine has value because it is because of its function, because of the utility. So sometimes you need to ask yourself, kapag pinag-uusapan natin yung PME, no? Is the machine more useful when it is operating or when it is detached and idle? So, kapag siya ay nakadetach o hindi siya ginagamit, naka-stagnant lang siya, so parang wala. Then, the key concept of knowing this is the value depends on the utility or in use or the remove. So therefore, the value changes depending on use and not the same value. So like for example, in situ or in place, it means that the machine is installed, naka-installed siya, connected siya, operating within the business. So the value is higher because it contributes to the production and income. It works as part of the system like the plant production line and no dismantling or transfer costs. So here, kung mapapansin ninyo, magkaiba yung in situ at saka yung removal. Kaya imagine, di ba, kapag yung it is dismantled, transported, or sold separately, iba yung kanilang value. So why value is lower? Because removal cost, because of the transfer cost, because of the risk of damage. Unlike kung naka-in place at stagnant siya doon, na-maintain yung kanyang na-maintain yung mga makina na aalagaan. Unlike dyan, di ba, dito, lakad doon, transfer dito, transfer doon. So there is a possibility na mag-depreciate agad or magkaroon agad ng konting yung mga equipment, di ba? So that's the logic done. So usually here in the PVS definition, the plant is not in general. So it is a machinery and equipment. It is the collective term adopted by the valuers, and the plant and equipment is adopted by the accountant. So magkaiba. Yung plant equipment adopted by accountant, yung machine at saka equipment naman by the valuers. So in reference to the plant equipment in the IBS, as per the IBS, is therefore the extended to plant machinery and then to the equipment. So binigyan na siya ng pinakang yung tatlong definitions. So the plant and the machinery collectively constitute as a general class of a tangible property assets. They are normally capable of being moved or relocated. Frequently, the value will differ, notably depending on whether an item of plant or machinery is valued in combination with other assets. Okay? So, sabi ng PBS, yun nga daw, not in general use. So may makanya-kanyang definitions. But in the IBS, kinonsider daw niya yung plant and equipment in the IBS, therefore extended sa plant, machinery, and equipment na siya. So sinama na pati yung, ginawa na siyang PME. So categorically, if we are going to categorize these three, yung plant are asset that are combined with others and may include building, machinery, and equipment. Kapag machinery, a combination of a body, so arranged to compel the forces. Compel the forces, ibig sabihin katulad nung machinery yan, yung backhoe, di ba? Compel the forces, naghuhukay ng ng lupa, o yung mga ano ba yung nagko-compel ng mga forces, mga example. So yon, gumagawa yung mga, siguro yung mga sewing machine, compel the forces, tatahiin yung damit, di ba? That's one of the example of machinery. Di ba, mamaya sabi, ipa-identify sa inyo ano yung sewing machine, ano yung lot machine. O baka mamaya hindi natin alam yan. So dapat alam ninyo yung category ng mga PME. So yung equipment, yung tinatawag na equipment, that is what we call the ancillary assets that are used to assist the function. Okay? Nag-a-assist lang siya, ancillary support. Di ba? As an entity that refers to other assets that are used to assist the operation of the enterprises. So ang ginagawa niya lang to support the assets. Okay? Yun yung different ng equipment. They assist the operation, do not directly produce. Okay? Ano ba yung weighing scale? Example niya, yung mga office computer. So yan yung mga equipment na tinatawag. Kaya dapat alalahanin ninyo, the key idea for the plant is integrated system may become the real property. May become the real property. Once na siya ay ano na doon, halimbawa naging part na siya ng real property, so magiging part na rin siya. Yung method of attachment. So alam niyo po ba yung mga method of attachment? Alam niyo rin po ba yung pagtinatawag natin na SRP, severance? Kapag sinabing severance, real property become real to personal. Kapag SRP, severance siya, tapos parang si Ma'am Rima lang yan Rima Padua. O, diba? Ma'am Rima, example ka. So, severance is Ma'am Rima Padua. Real property to personal. Kapag naman SRP, APR, di ba? Ano yung APR? Annexation from the personal to the real. So, dalawa lang yan. SRP, APR. Mabilis, di ba? Pag SRP, severance. R stands for real to personal. Annexation is ARP, that is APR, personal to real. Yung ganun lang siya kadali tandaan. Okay? So, ang idea ng machinery performs work, energy, mechanical functions, and demand kapag equipment support operations, usually movable siya. Okay? So, kailangan natin tandaan yung difference, yung kung paano natin ika-categorically yung ganitong klaseng PME. Yan, these are assets that are combined with others and may include building, machinery, and equipment. So kapag naman machine, yan, forces of nature, nagko-compel ng forces. Di ba? So alam nyo yan. Then we have the equipment, ancillary lang siya, support, the operations. So i-identify niyo yung tatlong pagkakaiba na yan kasi lumabas yan sa board. So, ayan yung mga example. So, isend naman namin ito sa sa GC. Okay, para lang makita ninyo yung mga example, nilagay namin dyan. Okay, so you need to remember the integrated system, machinery performs. So that is the PME. And how do you identify the IMAT? So alam niyo may IMAT? So di ba pag sinabi nating IMAT, it is the categories of the machinery. IMAT stands for, ayan, nasa screen, ang saya, di ba? Industrial, material, agricultural, and machinery on the transportations of the equipment. So, may mga pictures dyan para ma-visualize ninyo kung ano yung tinutukoy sa IMAT. Okay? Pag sinabing IMAT, this is the category of machinery. Okay? Na ginagamit lagi sa industrial, material handling, equipment, agricultural machinery, transportation. So, Yan yung dapat yung tandaan. So what is machinery? So diba, includes production facilities, installation, industrial machinery, refers to machine that transforms or process materials from one state to another kasi nagmo-move, diba? So yung handling din, material, yung mga for material handling equipment. So doon lang siya sa loob, like yung mga pali-paleta, sino trabaho sa warehouse? Yan, yung mga customs natin, maraming ganyan, material handling equipment. Yun yung mga nasa customs, yung nagbabuffer ng mga pali-paleta, 'di ba? Tapos yun sa customs or sa mga warehouses. Okay, huwag tayong malilito sa mga pag-identify ng mga PME. Tapos, yung mga, alam nyo rin to, 'di ba? Yung mga market value. By the way, yung the key to remember about the industrial is yung machines, milling machines, yan. Why this industrial? Because these machines is changed from raw materials. Kapag naman material handling, move and not produce, nag-move lang siya. We have agricultural, mga tractors na ginagamit, and transport external movement. So that's the IMAT. Okay, IMAT ang tawag natin yan. For this one, medyo alam nyo na yung market value, the most probable price, diniscuss ko kahapon for market value. It talks about the equitable and reasonable between the parties and then financial reporting, yung IFRS. O, di ba? Naalala ko pa yung IFRS. Di ba? Depreciated value, the value after deducting the physical deterioration, the functional obsolescence, and the economic obsolescence. The liquidation value, kasama din yan. So, yung scrap value, di ba? Pag salvageable materials, ina-apply siya when it's no longer economically useful kapag scrap. Pag replacement used in a cost approach for valuation, it's usually the cost to replace the asset with a new one of a similar utility at the current prices. So that's replacement cost. So why these are important in appraisal? Kasi it determine the appropriate basis of value, reflect different market conditions, purposes, and ensure the accurate and credibility valuation opinion. Okay? So the value of the characteristics, you have to remember those things. Investment, market owner value, the personal property, we have the investment property. So, andyan yung mga definitions. We are going to share this to GC also sa mga hindi pa nakakita. Yung mga property identification, no, alam nyo na rin to kasi nga nasa Philippine Valuation Standards, the PBS 2009 and the 2018. So, bakit sa mga primary source ng PBS, it clearly identify and describe an appraisal and then kasama lagi siya sa mga appraisal reporting. Okay? Even the MR-PAAW, sinusuportahan niya yung PBS kasi sinabi niya rin doon, ang sabi ng MR-PAAW, it provides the detailed procedures for assessors. Okay? Nagpo-provide ng detailed procedures para sa mga assessors. So, kapag sa IBS naman, it is a foundational actually, you know. IBS sets the global standards for asset identification and reporting. So, kaya kasama siya dyan. So, yung property identification sa MR-PAAW, very clear. So, tandaan natin yan. Kasi ito, baka mamaya may kinuha sa Pasig. Kasi, ano ba yung Loan City? Ano sa Metro Manila? Parang ganun. Loan, ano pa tawag dito? Yung ano, Pateros ba yun? O Pateros, I think. So, parang ganyan. Municipality pala. The only municipality in Metro Manila. So, parang Pateros. So, tandaan nyo lang baka kasi, anong PIN number nun? Ano bang Pateros? Meron ba? Yan. So, isama ninyo yung mga pag-aaral ng ganito kasi lumalabas to pa isa-isa lang. Next, Region 1, Region 4, alamin nyo rin to pa isa-isa. Sayang yung isa, no? Pero ang daming may memorize, tapos isa lang. Okay, so tandaan nyo yan. Yung valuation process, alam niyo na yung valuation process. So, economic demand, remaining useful life, and then the practical continuation. So kailangan malaman ninyo yung mga ganyan, especially yung sa mga installed, operating, and part of the existing use. What are the key points that you have to know? Diba? So, alamin natin lahat yan. So, pasadahan nyo lang. And ito very important. Sa MR PAO kasi mas maraming nakuha aside from the type ng mga tawag ito, yung mga ginamit ng mga materials, yung masonry, concrete, wood, mga ganon. So, yung chapter 7, ito yung mas pinakamaraming lumabas sa board. Sa chapter 7 lang, valuation process. So, particularly section 1 hanggang section 8. Aralin ninyo yan. Ang daming lumabas dyan. Halos lahat ng MR PAO dyan na kinuha. Maliban sa PIN. Okay? So, the fundamentals, rules, urban, rules in appraisal building, machinery equipment, naandyan lahat yung pinakamaraming lumabas sa board exam sa section 8 ng MR PAO chapter 4. Okay? So, tandaan nyo yan. Yung machinery shall be appraised based on the actual cost, yung mga tipong ganyan, yung ilan yung mga 5% maximum limit to 20% residual. Halimbawa, ano ba yun? Machinery and equipment. Machine yung shall be appraised based on the actual cost of reproduction cost, including the installation, yung depreciation limit. Ilan yung limit nung machine and equipment? Di ba 5%? Then 20% yung residual. Natandaan nyo ba yon? Nadaanan nyo sa chapter 4? So balikan nyo lang, baka nadaanan nyo, nakalimutan nyo lang. Yung RCN, reproduction cost new, yung RCN plus the installation cost depreciation, yung maximum 5% and minimum 20%. Okay? So baka lang lumabas yung ganyan. And MR PAO kasi yung chapter 7, medyo maano yan masyadong maraming especially sa section 2. Yung section 2 na ito, dalawa ang nakuha sa time namin, yung 1/3 na yan. So sumama yung mga triangular lots na yan. Yung sumama yan talaga sa board. So wag niyong kakalimutan yan. Kaya binibigay ko na sa inyo yung mga hint na mga possible na lumabas ulit from the question bank ng PRBRES. Okay? And what else? Yan, section 3, rules in appraisal. Kasi lumalabas ito from all roads, along dirt road. Ilan yung mga local trading center population. Yan, kasama. And even this one, ito hindi masyado, pero example lang kasi ito ng extraction procedures. Yung mga extraction, kasama yun, lumabas yun. Medyo tricky yung question, bahaba. Sa imagine one question is ng whole page, isang question lang yun, pero whole page na siya. Okay? Kaya alamin nyo yan. So, yung Roman numerals in this part, napakadami. Section 5. So, puro Roman numerals yan. Sa section ng 6, Roman numerals pa rin kasi itong the appraisal building shall be in accordance with, ibig sabihin, following pagkakasunod-sunod. Hindi pwedeng mauna si letter B sa letter A or si letter D to letter A. Babago-baguhin to. Ibimekos-mekos ni PR Beres yan. So, kung pag na-mekos-mekos yan, so alam nyo na kung paano kayo nilito. Next, itong tinatawag natin machinery and equipment. So, may mga parts sa MR PAO na dapat nyong malaman. So, balikan nyo lang siya dahil lumalabas siya sa board exam. Okay, so I still have 10 minutes. Engineer Benz ready. So, MR PAO, ang gandang discussion namin dito, may video kami. Balikan nyo yung video sa RF page. Ang ganda ng mga diniscuss namin. Especially ito sa mga RCN, yan, yung mga REL, tsaka ito mga EL na economic reproduction cost new, foreign currency, lumabas yan. Okay? Ito especially section 225 ng local government code, 5%. Ito, tricky itong question na to. Itong section 225 of the local government code, lumabas tong part na to. Yung sinabi ko kanina 5% and then ilan yung 20% residual. So lumabas yan. Okay? So tandaan nyo lang yan. Kaya binigay ko yung chapter 7 kasi ang daming lumabas doon. So the evaluation procedure. Ito yung sinasabi ko kanina. Na hindi nyo lang dapat alam kung ano yung procedure. Kasi yung time namin, ang question dito, nilagay ko doon sa GC ng OREP, na ano daw yung evaluation process na ginagamitan ng tatlong approaches. Which is nasa 1, 2, 3, 4. So, process number 5. So, may question kasi dun eh. Which appraisal process or valuation process na ginagamitan ng 3 approaches? Yun ang question. So, kung hindi mo memorize yung 7 process ng valuation, eh patay na. So, dapat, pag sinabi kasing process, hindi mo pwedeng pagbali-balik ta rin yan. Kasi nga, steps yan eh. Hala nga naman nauna sa step 7 sa 1. Hala nga naman nauna sa step 2 sa ano, 'di ba? Nauna si step 2 sa 1. So nauna si step 5 sa ano, sa 7. Hindi pwedeng ganon. Kaya nga process, may pagkakasunod-sunod. Hindi porke alam mo na yan, memorize mo na, alam ko yan, highest best use, three approaches, hindi ganon. Ang pag-memorize ng process, basically based on the sequence. Kaya nga proseso eh, step by step. Hindi yung sinabi mo lang na alam mo na yan. Definition of assignment up to the report of divine value. Dapat ganun kayo mag-memorize. Dahil ang question sa board exam ay i-align ng pagkakasunod-sunod. And even the definition of the assignment, yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 yung definition of assignment. Ano yung nakapaloob sa 7 definition of assignment? At ano yung mga basically ang ibig sabihin ng mga yan. So since I have 8 minutes na lang, so yan yun, di ba? Yung definition of assignment, kailangan alamin mo to, identity ng real property, identity ng rights, mga simple, baka mamaya, in-evaluate, ano, ni-report mo yan, hindi pala siya P simple or naka-list at P pala yan. So, kailangan detailed. Kapag gumagawa tayo ng comprehensive or narrative reporting, you need to put all the detail. Hindi siya, diba pag written report, may mga tawag tayong form, comprehensive, so may mga ganong klase, memo, yan. Pag oral naman, yan, di ba, yung mga verbal, very yun. Tapos, kapag define ng value, specifies what kind of value, market ba yan, fair investment ba yan. So, date of value, the effective date of the value, opinion, dun dapat siya nagmamatter. Hindi kung kailan mo lang siya nagkaroon ka lang evaluation report, diba, nung nakaraang taon yung ilalagay mo, no. Diba, the effective date of the value, kailan siya na in-appraise. Okay? So, yung mga limiting conditions, kailangan mo siyang ilagay. Kasi nga, baka mamaya yung assumptions of restrictions like no environmental testing, information relied on as provided. So, kailangan alamin mo rin yan. Yung mga scope of assignment, level of inspection, data sources, approaches to be used. Kinakailangan alamin mo siya. Okay? So, yun. Yung mga level of environmental, baka mamaya, ano ba yung ECC, environmental compliance ba yan? So, dapat may mga ganung factor. Baka mamaya sa report mo, hindi mo siya sinama. Mamaya yung lupa pa na pag-anohan doon is, ano siya, malambot, di ba? Yung mga tipong ano bang tawag doon? Mga mash, ano? Yung mga lupa, hindi siya matigas, kumbaga parang hindi siya hindi siya masyadong pwedeng tayuan ng property. Yung preliminary analysis and data selection, collection, importante itong mga to. Kailangan alamin mo yung mga regional, economic factors, government factors, nakapaloob yan. Kasi, baka mamaya ang itanong sa iyo, ano yung nakapaloob sa process number 2, preliminary analysis and data selection collection. So ngayon, yun yung number 2, pero may hinahanap. Data, specific data pala siya. So saan siya nakapaloob? Sa number 2, yun. So, at saka yung ang tawag dito, yung sa environmental planning sa sa CLUP, sa CLUP, kasi ginawan ko yan ng GigaCep Decree, yun mga ganon, general ganyan. So, ginawan ko siya ng acronym, GigaCep Decree, yung CLUP, CLUP, so dapat alam nyo yun, kasi may paisa-isang lumalabas din doon. Then, 2, analysis land as though vacant properties improve, so importante, the land value estimate. Before valuing the improvements, kailangan alamin mo ba, land lagi is separate kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng value estimation sa building. Lagi siyang separate. Hindi pwede, saka mo lang siya i-combine kapag na-minus mo na yung value ng land or na value ng building. Okay? So the application of the three approaches, ito yung tinanong sa amin, saan daw nakapaloob ng property valuation, tatlong approaches. So ang sagot is number 5. May step number 5. Yan lang yan. Ganun lang siya kadali. Next, we have reconciliation of value, indication of the final estimation. Okay? Then, the report of the final value. So, the real estate trust naman, importante ito yung nilagay ko kasi yan lang yung tinanong sa part namin. Para yung mga fund manager at saka yung ilan daw yung capital na ginamit at saka ilan yung share ng mga shareholders. Yung may mga 90%, tapos yung 300 yung capital, 300,000 ba o 3 million. So, tipong ganon. Tapos, yung mga focus area ng REIT. Ito pala, yung investment asset composition limit, 75, 40, 10%, 35. Yan yung screenshot nyo ito. Bali, nakashare naman to sa GC. So, ito yung yan yung aralin ninyo, ha, yung investment asset. Tapos yung stocks corporation. Pag sinabi kasing, parang iniisip nila, ano siya, parang akala nila yung real investment. It pertains to trust. Okay? Trust siya. Kaya wag niyong isipin na yung corporations. It's a trust. Then, focus on the area, distributable income and net income, 90% dividend. Tapos kung saan nakapaloob na section siya. And then, the terms and condition, ito very easy na lang pag alam yung fund manager, fund property fees. So, yan yun. We have also, 300 million capitalization. Yan yung sinasabi ko kanina. Then, the 75% income generating to 75% deposited property. Yan yun. Okay? So, ano pa ba? Ito lang, yung tandaan nyo to kasi baka lumabas sa board. Ano ang difference nung PRA tsaka SRRB? Diba? Diba nga ini-implement na ngayon yung Philippines is one of the retirement country na mga gusto mag-retire. So sabi nila ganun daw. Okay? So tandaan nyo yan. We have also here, alam nyo na itong mga batas na ito, may lumalabas pa isa-isa, like yung 9003 lumabas. So baka sa inyo lumabas yung 9729, since na may mga tayo, no? May mga earthquake na nangyayari, may mga weather na nangyayari. So tandaan nyo, especially itong EIS 1586, tandaan nyo itong dalawa na to. Okay? Or 9003, solid waste management. And that would be all. I would like to have a 2 minutes break